the first day when I came into the camp, we had the appeal. That it means they were counting us. We had to stand for attention for hours. And when he came out, officer, he had a speech, and in the speech he said, this is going to be your home from now on. Don't you even try to escape. Don't try about thinking to leave, because you're going to be shot on the side. This is going to be your place. You're going to be working here till you die. And we had to have our hands put out in the front of everybody, on the shoulder of the other people in front of you. And I noticed one man didn't have it. So I whispered to him to put his hands out. And the German officer heard. He didn't know who did whisper, but he asked who. And they didn't want, but then he says that if we don't show up, the one who did it doesn't come forward, every tent will be shut. I will be staying all night on the outside, and that was in the winter, sub-freezing weather, snow, ice, and we were only dressed very little, had on. So after this, when they heard this, they pointed me out, and I had to appear before him. He called me different names. He was yelling at me, and he took his whip and hit me over my face. And the first thing what I felt right away, my eyeglasses. I was wearing eyeglasses. I was nearsighted, so I was wearing, since I was a young teenager, I was wearing eyeglasses. And my eyeglasses were thrown on the ground and broken in pieces. And he cut my face with a whip. I was bleeding all around, all over. After this, they took us to the barracks. They pushed us into the barracks. And they kept us there overnight. And in the morning, they sent us to work right away the next day. 6 in the morning.
Since I was a boy, I've known that my father survived the Holocaust in Poland and lost most of his family. Even as a kid, that story about his eyeglasses haunted me. His glasses were broken while he was trying to save another man. Glasses recur as a theme in artifacts of the Holocaust. Tens of thousands of pairs were taken from Jews murdered by the Nazis. Somehow, by the end of the war, in 1945, my dad and 2 of his brothers had survived. A few years later, in his late 20s, he came to America and began a new life. He and one brother opened a grocery store. They worked 13-hour days, 6 days a week. And as he says in his Holocaust testimony, my dad did everything he could to give me all the opportunities.
In the middle, that's me, looking younger, better than now. And in front of me is my little boy. At that time, he was about 4 or 5 years old, probably. My pride and joy now. He's a man living in New York now, working. I'm very proud of him. I brought him through school, through high school, gave him the best education I could afford. I put him through NYU school, college, and he graduated as a journalist with 2 degrees in journalism and political science. And as soon as he graduated, he got a job with the AP, Associated Press. That was almost 7 years ago, and he's still working there, and he's doing well. And I'm very proud of him, and he's my joy and pride. And I'm glad that I survived.
My dad retired to Florida and met a wonderful woman, Christiane. She became his second wife and my stepmom. She helped my father re-embrace his Judaism long after the Holocaust and guided him in writing his memoirs and articles for the local newspapers. My own beautiful wife Christina found a publisher in Brazil who translated his memoir into Portuguese, and this book was printed and distributed around the country. After a short battle with pneumonia, my dad died in Pembroke Pines, Florida. He was 87 and had a tough but still beautiful life. We had more than 40 years together. He always dreamed of being a grandfather. Our twins, Joseph and Ella, were born 4 years after he died, and now Christina is expecting our 3rd precious child. My dad's spirit will be with me for the rest of my days. One place where we still connect is this bench in Central Park, which we adopted in his blessed memory. It says, "Bench for a mensch." Mensch is a Yiddish word he liked a lot, because it means human in its best sense. That indeed he was.